Hey guys, Pedguin here, and the Terraria Otherworld trailer has just been released. We're going to be reviewing that, and also we're going to be reviewing the Terraria forum thread that was released as well, where it explains in depth about what we should expect from the new Terraria game in comparison to the old one. Let's take a look, shall we? Before we continue, if you want to check out this thread for yourself or watch the trailer, just go down in the description. You should be able to find a link down there. Alright, so as you can see, this is the thread, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through the thread first of all. We'll do the trailer later. We're going to go through the thread and read out specific parts that really appealed to me and I think show a good reflection on the game and what we should expect. Okay, so if we go down here to the RPG elements part, it says includes a core storyline. We can kind of see this from the teaser trailer that we saw the other week, with it had like crystals. It kind of basically shouts out straight away there's a goal around this new Terraria. And then on the next line you see it says NPCs will be beyond more than just merchants only, just wandering around doing nothing, right? So this is pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of the Clothier from Terraria. First he starts out as just some guy guarding a dungeon, right? Don't go in, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden he turns out you've got to fight this giant skeleton thing, right? And then he moves in afterwards. All the NPCs in the new Terraria Otherworld are going to have some sort of story and lore driven into them. They're not just going to be mindless merchants. And then on the next line it says the storyline will not be a fixed narrative. What this means is, I think what it's hinting at is it will have a story, but you don't have to do the story if you don't want to. What you can do is just go explore, go build things, yada yada yada. I don't know if they're going to have like a story mode and then like have a sandbox mode. It might just be one mode, and then if you don't want to do it, just don't do it. Or maybe there will be a sandbox mode, which is just all like, just do whatever you want pretty much, without any NPCs trying to bother you for stories and quests like that. I'm not sure if there's going to be those two different modes, but it'll be interesting to see. Alright, so just below this you see down here skill trees. Alright, skill trees is something brand new. They've never done this in the original Terraria. This is completely just for Terraria Otherworld. So this is another way to customize your character. If you like melee weapons, if you like ranging, you can increase those skills individually. It's not like a tree where you get a new point, you can spend that point and then get like a new move or anything like that. It kind of works with like damage, I guess. If you use swords a lot of the time, you get a damage boost, or like your skills have gone up by this percentage or whatever, you know. But there's one quote that I really do like. It says, use a silver sword all the time and your skill with swords and that particular sword will improve. So that means there's no correct way to play the game. Like for example in Terraria, everyone knows, oh, the best sword is the Terra Blade and blah 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 blah. And then it's just like, okay, that's your best sword, but my best sword is this sword because I've trained my character to be really efficient with this weapon, and I think this is good. And then your friend will be like, no, I think this weapon's the best because I've trained my character. Like it kind of just makes the game even more sandboxy. And there's no definitive one strongest weapon than them all. It's all kind of open to interpretation. Like if this sword works in a different way, you're gonna prefer that one to your playstyle, because everyone plays differently at the end of the day. I really do like this addition to the game. It's fantastic. Alright, so the next part is the strategy elements. This is pretty basic. You've seen a lot of this in the trailer and whatnot, all the towers and how they work. So pretty much basically this is what the game revolves around. This is the kind of story that it ties into. There are these gems, you find them, you set up towers to defend the gems and whatnot like that. There's a quote that I like. It says, even the best Terraria players can't defend the whole map, so it encourages you to make these defenses, because if you get a crystal, congratulations, and you walk off and do something else, that crystal is going to get taken by the corruption or enemies around that area. So you need to set up these towers in order to make sure the crystal is defended. And who knows, maybe there'll be like bosses that all of a sudden come out of nowhere and are trying to take your crystal, and you have to get there as fast as possible to defend your area. It's like your base, it's under attack, right? So I kind of like that idea. It gives you an objective, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. It's pretty cool, an idea. And if you take a look at the image down below, you'll see there's spikes, there's a flamethrower, there's rocket launchers, there's like Gatling guns. There's many ways to keep these enemies out of your base. So I'm kind of interested to see what sort of defenses there are as well. Okay, so last but not least, we've got availability for this thread. So it's going to be coming out for PC and Mac, that is guaranteed. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One will be coming out further down the line. Also, they're going to be self-published as well, meaning no 505 games. So the games from PC to consoles are going to be much more truer. For example, right now in Terraria, we have half of the content in Terraria PC, and then in Terraria console you have all sorts of random bosses like the turkey one and some other things that just don't fit in the game, in my opinion, and even the art style seems a bit off. Like the Thanksgiving turkey looks a bit like it was done in paint, in my opinion. So yeah, that's that. And also there's no early access, mainly because the original Terraria had some issues with that back in the day, and they probably don't want to repeat. Alrighty, so next I'm going to be going and taking pieces from the trailer and showing you guys some interesting stuff. Alright, let's take a look, shall we? The corruption, crystal caves, wings and what may be seen as the underworld. Here you can see what looks like the dungeon. Also there's destructive terrains with the rocket launcher. Here's the defensive section. This is what we talked about earlier, where you can set up towers to defend your crystals, as you can see in the center. Okay, in this next one, you can see the corruption slowly getting taken away from the crystal in the center. You can slowly see the original overworld coming back. Here you can see the rocks slightly coming over all the corruption, and here you can see the snow taking away the corruption as well. The crystal works as a hot point to get rid of all corruption in the area. Pretty cool stuff. And here you can see a non-hostile NPC. Okay, so that was the whole thread in a nutshell, pretty much. I'm kind of glad I got this all under wraps, under 10 minutes. I covered the whole trailer. I covered all of the text in the thread. So I hope you guys enjoyed the work I put into this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.